And then behold the bouquet in the center of all of the flowers of intention. Breathing in the beauty of its frequency. And we'll ripple this out on our breath, on the tone of Om, out into the whole as an offering. Breathing in and fully releasing. So I will let in a few more beings into our space from the waiting room, welcoming one another from the deepest center point of our heart. And the heart of nature wanted to transmit frequencies of peace today. That is the frequency focus for us to begin to bathe in together. So when we take in these transmissions that do come through words, just knowing that the words are really vehicles of frequency. And to really take them in, it may require a recalibration where the mind relaxes into its simplicity. Of witnessing presence. And where portals open up, portals that are used by all of these nature beings, and that we are beginning to wake up, portals that exist in our own embodied form, in our subtle energy fields, those subtle organs of perception. Perhaps you feel them in the soles of your feet, or right where the nostril meets the air. Or on the follicle on your skin. Or in that sacred center, in the center of your forehead. Really, there are limitless ways to open, to receiving. So just tune in to yourself and invite these openings. So diving into the frequency of peace with Travis's help behind me. This transmission is from the herd. The words that came through from the frequency that they offer are these. The peace that we are transmitting through these words and through our embodied presence is a peace beyond all understanding. It is a peace that is not an opposite of anything. It is a peace that holds all opposites. It's always there. You simply need to consciously shift your attention to its behind the scenes holding power. We spend timeless time feeling into this peace, diving into it, understanding it as who we are. We move in it, and we fully recognize ourselves as it. If we didn't spend most of our days feeling this peace, it would seem not to exist. Yet it would not cease to exist. You must tune your attention to it more than you turn your attention to the hubbub. We move, we express, and we return to peace. We notice your rhythm does not often return back to peace, but continues its wound up momentum until you sleep. But even then, there is much excited dream activity. Without having consciously dipped into the healing frequencies of the all-pervading peace that surrounds you all throughout the day, this peace appears not to exist. But in truth, it is unceasing. And when you begin to notice it more fully, this peace will become the predominant force of your dance with all that is. This peace that we are transmitting through these words and through our embodied presence is a peace beyond all understanding. It is a peace that is not an opposite of anything. It is the peace that holds all opposites. It is always there. You simply need to consciously shift your attention to its behind the scenes holding power. We spend timeless time feeling this peace, diving into it, understanding it as who we are. We move in it, and we fully recognize ourselves as it. If we didn't spend most of our days feeling this peace, it would seem not to exist. Yet it would not cease to exist. You must tune your attention to it more than you tune your attention to the hubbub. Or you can learn a dual attention. A dual attention. While you focus on the hubbub, you can notice the surrounding, all-enveloping peace simultaneously. This is easier to do once you have practiced tuning directly to it over and over again, like we do all throughout the day. Notice how we move, we express, and we return to peace again and again. We notice your rhythm does not often return back to peace, but continues its wound up momentum until you sleep. But even then, there is much exciting dream activity. Without having consciously dipped into the healing frequencies of the all-pervading peace that surrounds you all throughout the day, this peace appears not to exist. But in truth, it is unceasing. And when you begin to notice it more fully, this peace will become the predominant force of your dance with all that is. So feeling into your own being now, how these frequency vehicles have landed, and allowing the breath to release anything that wants to be released, and allowing a realigning, an awakening, an absorption, breath by breath. And our next transmission, again, is from the herd on this frequency of peace. Our posture for deep, embodied feeling into peace. Our posture for palpable, embodied being of this peace is low, low, low. When the mind is held high up in esteem, and held high up in stature, the ability to sense the all-pervading peace is drowned out by the intensity and rhythm of the brainwaves. We sink our muzzles down to the ground, low, low, low. Muzzle to the earth, lowering our sense of gravity to lean into gravity instead of resisting it, to lean into gravity instead of resisting it. Peace. Peace is below all understanding. Lean in, muzzle to the earth. Lower your heads below your heart once in a while. Feel the peace that holds you as you lean in. What is your peace pose? It may be time to repose in the name of peace. So let's tune to our posture right now and see if you can find a position that feels more peaceful, that supports a feeling of a deeper, more predominant flow of peace. Maybe it's just a little shift, or perhaps it's no shift at all, just noticing a relaxation, or perhaps your head wants to fall below the heart for a breath or two. And I'll read these word vehicles again. Our posture for deep embodied feeling into peace. Our posture for palpable embodied being of this peace is low, low, low. When the mind is held high in esteem and stature, the ability to sense the all-pervading peace is drowned out by the intensity and rhythm of the brainwaves. We sink our muzzles down to the ground, low, 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 muzzle to the earth, lowering our sense of gravity to lean into gravity instead of resisting it. Peace. Peace is below all understanding. Lean in. Muzzle to the earth. Lower your heads below your heart once in a while. And feel the peace that holds you as you lean in. What is your peace pose? It may be time to repose in the name of peace. So we begin to tune into our own stature and our relationship to gravity itself. And experiment with leaning in a bit to gravity. In the name of peace, to explore repose, or to repose. So just explore again in this moment your body's posture in a way that it might shift even ever so slightly towards peace. And our final transmission comes from the oceanic beings, the fish consciousness. we want to talk to you about rhythm, your movements, the way you divide up your daily life in a series of transitions. They have a rhythm, transitions from one flow to the next, one place to the next, one thought to the next, one emotional state to the next, one meal to the next. Very rarely is your attention on the pause of peace, alive and beckoning in between transitions. Turning to the space of peace in between transitions is a great way to remember the peace that is ever present. And not just in the spaces in between. Ever present is this peace out of which everything flows. Peace is easier to detect and to return to if the rhythm you are entrained to honors the space in between transitions. But if you skip over transitions, then you're giving up a portal to really bathe in the sea of peace you swim in. Breathe in the sea of peace that you are. So these oceanic beings are inviting us to tune into this portal, which is a space in between every breath. Every shift of state, every shift of activity, every shift of environment. As a portal of easy access to a remembrance of this sea of peace that everything swims in. We want to talk to you about rhythm, the movements, the way you divide up your daily life into a series of transitions. They have a rhythm. Transitions from one flow to the next, from one state to the next, from one thought to the next, one meal to the next. Very rarely is your attention on the pause of peace, alive and beckoning right in between transitions. Tuning to the space of peace in between transitions is a great way to remember the peace that is ever present. And not just in the spaces in between transitions, but ever present is this peace out of which everything flows. Peace is easier to detect and return to if the rhythm you are entrained to honors the space in between. Tuning to this space is a portal. Peace is so much easier to detect and to return to if the rhythm you are entrained to honors the space in between transitions. But if you skip over transitions, then you're giving up a portal to really bathe in the sea of peace you swim in, breathe in, the sea of peace that you are. So we'll bathe now together, honoring the space in between the offering of these transmissions now. Really beginning to sense yourself as not separate from the sea of peace that is all encompassing. Noticing how amplified that peace becomes with your attention upon it. Noticing how often all of nature spends time in repose, sensing and embodying fully this frequency of peace, which is not the opposite of anything, but is the holding power of everything. So we'll gently begin our transition now from this portion of our gathering, where we have been open to receiving these word vehicles on peace and awakening this, strengthening this inside, to a sacred dialogue, if you feel to. A gentle transition back into the group space from these depths of diving, but still anchored deeply with the dancing of these molecules of peace within. And just tuning in to see if there's anything that you would like to share about your journey, anything you would like to have held in this space, in this unique way. Perhaps there's a message that has come to you loud and clear, or a tool, a way of tuning to peace that you would like to share. Please feel free to share your voice here, as we really are one family, one nature family, exploring together. And everyone's voice here is the voice of one heart through many facets. So just unmute and feel free to say hello if you feel to. Otherwise, also know your silence is heard as well.
Thank you.
I'm just looking around at all of you beautiful beings with so much gratitude. So we bathe deeper together. It is pretty luxurious to do so. I have the powerful presence here of Khalil, just wanting to share his gaze with you all as a reminder of who you are.
Sabina?
Yes. Who is this?
This is Kitty.
Hi, Kitty. Hello, beloved.
Hi. First of all, I want to say coming to this gathering, this my past week, just seeing like everything was like a big wheel of turmoil.
Mhm.
But coming to this gathering, everything back then seems so minuscule now. And because just coming here, I felt the peace. As you were talking, I was meditating. I could see this big sphere, like the earth, and the colors were blue and red. And the color blue for me is a calming color. And the color red was blood, everybody's blood, just being with that calming blue and being at peace. That's what I will hold.
Oh, that's such a powerful visual. Because oftentimes when we think of blood, there's another connotation, but to really feel that beauty of blood and the tranquility of aliveness, of beingness, as the blue ocean and that blood red meat. So beautiful. Someone once showed me that when you put your finger up on the screen over the camera, that it turns to red.
Sure does.
And that is that happens for us all in our shared ocean of peace, of humanity. Yeah. Thank you for being here. It is amazing, isn't it, how the frequencies of turmoil can recede when they're engulfed by a vastness of
Yeah.
a holding power of how they're held.
Yeah. I know every time I had an issue or felt like I was having an issue, it's like the next day the universe had it all rectified for me.
Oh,
There's nothing I had to do. It was just all taken care of.
oh, how benevolent.
No, I feel so blessed. I'm just,
So blessed, and there is a benevolence holding all.
yeah.
I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, I'm glad I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel your beloved Ajali here too.
Oh, he is. He is. He kind of pushed me to get going today. I had to
Good
drive
job.
almost 30 minutes to get somewhere where I could have internet.
Oh, you know, your effort does not go unnoticed by the universe.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your efforts. Hmm. Yes, I hope you can all feel it. Heather, did you unmute?
Yes, I did.
Hello.
Hello. As we started, my sister's little dog came and sat at my feet.
Oh. Oh. Hmm. Hmm. So beautiful. Thank you for being here with us, Heather.
Thank
For
you,
feeling.
Joni.
Yeah, thank you, Joni. Always. Thank you, Joni. I can feel in my own energy flow what it feels like to have that beautiful friend sitting by your feet. Thank you for sharing that. I think somebody was speaking, but I couldn't hear who. Or maybe that was just a background.
Well, I had something to share.
Ah, Susan, hello.
Hi. Um, a long time ago, when you're first learning to meditate or get into that space that feels like you're touching a source, and there's teachers often say, well, let's find a spot that's like a sacred place to you.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was always just water, the ocean, and dolphins, and me.
Yeah.
That kind of really came together today with the piece.
Your peace posture.
Well, yeah, either I could never make up my mind whether I was swimming with the dolphins or I was one. They're usually moving back and forth between the two.
Yes, yes,
But
yes.
that ocean, um, yeah, the ocean.
Yes, and that permeability, the dolphin, the sea that the dolphins swim in, the frequency of that, the permeability that is your true nature.
And
Feel that opening.
yeah, um, and being under the water is just as comfortable as being outside of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. I can feel the sensory, physical, palpable experience of that sea of peace as real.
Yeah, a lot of people, I guess probably most people, they say are visual, but there are a lot of us that are kinesthetic and more about maybe first responses might be feeling instead
Yeah,
of seeing. Yeah, and that's what the ocean feels like.
yeah, exactly. Because being in the water is so sensory.
Sensory, sensual. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that and amplifying the frequency
Yeah. Thank
the
you
way
for
that you do.
the piece. It was nice. Very nice.
Yeah. It's a beautiful remembrance of who we are. Would anyone else like to share before our closing? Feel free. I very much am struck by the discernment of this quality of peace that nature is attuning us to, which is not the opposite of anything. So it's unceasing, even if we don't notice it, ever present. And then the ways to tune to it, of course, are endless. And we will continue our exploration weekly this month, diving into that remembrance. Some of the important distinctions are that the animals brought forth today are the importance of repose, repose in the name of peace. And that play on words could mean physical posture, but also means an intention of harmonizing with that field, that ever-present field. Also, not just skating through transitions, but honoring the transitions as portals of pauses, of dipping into that frequency of peace that's always there. And shifting our center of gravity a bit lower to the earth. Low, 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 muzzle to the earth, where our minds are not so upright. Such beautiful pointers. So I thank all of these great beings who have co-created our exploration today. And I thank each of you. And let's just take a moment to fully share a breath of this peace. And then we can ripple this peace out as a gift to the whole. So may we flow with this remembrance in this one ocean, beloveds. Thank you again for being here. Blessings to you all. So much gratitude and honoring and love. Khalil is playing music on the chair for you all. We'll thank each one of the horses now, and you can feel free to stay and just take a few breaths with us in silence before we close. We have our wise one over here in the shade. He spends so much time in his solitude. See you soon, beloved. Thank you again. Muzzle to the earth.